Hey guys, welcome back to Ungex HQ for another live video. Today I'm going to do this in a little bit of a different format once again. So I'm actually going to guide everyone through the process to treatment. So both from a client's perspective and from a consultant's perspective. So just so you guys at home know, the Demodex consultants here in the job, here in the office, and the other teams as well. They don't have the easiest job. They've got to have a lot of knowledge about Demodex and other sorts of parasites, and a lot of knowledge, just basically industry standard sort of knowledge. So before I begin, guys, I'll just let you know again, please, if you could hit the like button, it really helps us out, and especially for all of our clients at home that are tuning in. If you can hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any information that we throw out. These videos we do for you guys, so you can follow the protocol and just so you can use the products in the best way possible and get the fastest results for relieving yourself of the symptoms you've been suffering from. So yeah, once again, guys, please just hit the like button, subscribe for our clients at home, especially you guys. Yeah, I'll begin or kick it off now. So obviously, usually this would always start with some sort of symptoms, unless someone's doing research for someone else. And the symptoms would usually include, in the most common ones, itching and crawling sensations, redness of the skin, hair loss in men and women, and in women. Look, with Ungex, we actually started out dealing with hair loss predominantly, and then we sort of evolved into skincare from there. So we deal with symptoms like acne, pimples, and then from there we have clients with a possible diagnosis of rosacea, dermatitis, and eczema as well. So other symptoms people suffer from before even getting into it: blackheads, rough skin, dandruff, any other hair issues, crawling sensation, and enlarged pores as well. So generally, this would set someone off into research and trying to figure out the underlying causes of skin conditions, and that'll generally lead into traditional causes and traditional sort of medicine's approach to how we deal with these things. So, and there's one of the things it's become like overwhelming in dealing with a vast number of clients like I have, is that there's not a whole lot of information in the medical world, especially in the US, about exactly what's going on with Demodex and how to treat it. It's just not spoken about, and it's one of those things. So like I said, yeah, generally it'll from there, having the symptoms, it'll lead people into doing some research and finding out like quite a fair bit about the medical industry. So yeah, so and then from there, it leads to an understanding of basically shortcomings in most forms of medicine, especially in the US. Yeah, and I've spoken a lot about that in previous videos that I've done, guys, why there isn't a lot of knowledge out there about Demodex, and why there isn't a whole heap of solutions for the people that are suffering from the problem. So generally, once you get to that point, then our clients will start building up a bit of a knowledge about mites and other sorts of parasites and the particular causes. Like we do get a lot of calls and 24/7 chat logs of clients and prospective clients wondering what sort of mite it is, sending us photos, and there's actually a lot of support groups on the internet that we're members of as well, that we get involved in just to help people out with our knowledge base. So you'll see me usually floating around the net, guys, during the day in office hours. I've always got something open. I'm always doing more research just to make myself a better consultant for everyone at home, and just to build up my own knowledge base, so I'm more confident in knowing where people are coming from, the different symptoms they're experiencing as well, and as well when something's out of my hands and I need to pass it on to someone above me. Definitely a really important part of the job, and it's something that does happen. We all know like quite a lot about the field, but we don't know everything. So I'll bring that back to the doctors as well, guys. They're not biologists and they're not parasitologists either, so we can't expect them to know everything, as wonderful and as knowledge based as they are. So yeah, once again, that brings me back to what modern medicine in the US sort of doesn't know, or what they just determine as the normal fauna that's sort of part of the natural human genome, or human biology. Sorry, I correct myself there. I always like to use the analogy of symbiotic relationships when it comes to humans and parasite sort of interaction. We don't really see too much symbiosis when it comes to human biology, like we do in the animal world. Like I always use the sea anemone and the clownfish as a direct analogy. It's a symbiotic relationship, something we described there, where both creatures are benefiting from it. So something like Demodex that's been likened to a symbiotic relationship definitely isn't. So one of the main components of that, for it to be called true symbiotic, is the fact that both partners in that relationship would have something to gain out of it. Where we know Demodex are a parasite, and one of the main determining factors of that is the fact that they're only benefiting from the human. We aren't benefiting anything from them whatsoever. In fact, they're doing a lot of damage, and the research that we're seeing come in lately, there's quite a lot of new studies that I've been reading that are determining that Demodex are either the direct cause or linked to a lot of skin issues that I've discussed already. But I've done a lot of videos about that, so I'll try and stay off that topic a little bit today, guys, and just guide us through the process. So as I was saying, first we've got the experiencing of the symptoms, then that'll begin into the research, finding out there's not a lot that can be done when it comes to modern medicine, finding out the shortcomings about that, and then we build up a knowledge of mites and different parasite groups, and then typically our clients will get involved in different support groups online and start seeing a lot of the information that's out there. And one negative factor of that is people getting into home remedies without it having much of a backbone, or without any real independent studies being done, or any real positive results that can be attested to. So that's one of the negative things. I'm forever out there, and a lot of the consultants here do it as well. We'll spend a fair bit of time dispelling some different things. I think one of the ones that came in sort of over the last week was to do a sort of a nicotine dip, and I ended up posting online about how having like a nicotine bath was the cause of poisoning, and a fatal cause of poisoning in some people that had sort of tried that and not knowing what it was in relation to at all. So anyway, and once we've done that, we've studied home remedies, that'd usually bring people back to modern medicine and the normal forms that are sort of attributed to trying to help deal with that. So one of the videos I've done recently that went for around half an hour was on ivermectin and just the negative implications of that. I'll just be really, really quick going through that again, guys. Sorry to do it again if you've tuned in before and you've seen it before. But yeah, I really just wanted to touch on that one more time, because it's something that I'm going over and over and over again when I'm talking to clients and over the phone, basically doing any consultancy work. So if I'm on the online speaking to people, or if I'm speaking to them face to face, if it's a Skype call, I'm going over ivermectin quite a few times. The first point that I really want to touch on when it comes to ivermectin, guys, is that basically any of our clients that have used it in the past, we always say generally that there's a 3-month minimum treatment period for any of our clients. Now, anyone who's used ivermectin, if it's been unsuccessful, and I haven't seen any successful cases of it actually ridding people of Demodex yet, we have to let them know that it's going to go past their minimum 3-month treatment period. And the reason for that is Demodex gets stronger and they seem to get streetwise, so to speak, in a really, really sneaky way, and they do that really, really quickly. So we know that it's going to extend the time period of treatment. It's going to extend that treatment period just a little bit. So that's something we try and make people aware of from the get-go. Yes, they evolve really quickly. They seem to get stronger really quickly, and it's something that we're sort of used to dealing with now. Now, the negative implications of ivermectin, that's one of them, and I'll just state a few reasons why we haven't seen it really work, and this is something we kick around the office. The research and development team talk about it as well. So number one, it wasn't actually developed or produced for humans initially, so it's not formulated for human use. It's actually formulated for veterinary use in particular. Secondly, it was never formulated to even treat Demodex mange in dogs, even though it is for veterinary use. It was originally formulated to treat heartworm, and ringworm was secondary. So thirdly for that, and doctors, vets predominantly will do it out of frustration and prescribe it for Demodex mange, because there's nothing else that's really working. So the next point that I'd make about that would be that it's actually needed to be used in higher dosages in relation to Demodex mange, and that's for canines. And the thing about the canines is that they can actually tolerate a higher dosage than humans can. Now, the other point that I'd make in relation to that is that there's a whole host of side effects attributed to it, and obviously if we start trying to deal with Demodex with the ivermectin, it's going to actually induce some of those side effects. And the reason being, as I stated, it's not intended for humans. It's not intended to be used against Demodex, and it's not intended to be used in those higher dosages that needs to be used just to maintain some sort of balance with in relation to the Demodex. But then we're finding that the negative effects it's having is that the Demodex are actually getting stronger and it's ineffective altogether. So that'll bring us back to the US doctors having a fair bit to catch up on. And I'd just like to say that we've got to give them a bit of a break. Like I said earlier, they're not parasitologists, they're not biologists, and they can't actually know everything about biology. And the reason is because they're not biologists. So and then that sort of brings us to the next point that we'll be explaining about Ungex being an invention. So what an invention sort of entails is this is something that's new, so the doctors aren't trained on it either. So even though we can say now with a great degree of happiness that we are being prescribed as the go-to treatment in some places and countries in the world now, but not all doctors can be trained on it, so it's going to take some time. So with that statement, I'd ask you guys, if you're clients of ours and you've had success with the Ungex protocol and the treatment and the product, please let other people know. If you could be active in the forums for us, help to promote us, mention it to the doctors as well. When you go to see them, just be aware of the diagnosis of parasitosis. I've done a live video about that as well, so if you don't know what that means, please go back through the feed and you'll see that I've done videos on that as well, talking about that in pretty great length. So public awareness is one of the main things where we can't have a lot of feedback, and I suppose the subject of Demodex mites, it's somewhat taboo as well. Like, people don't like talking about it after treatment. They don't like making people aware it's something they're suffering from, and we're all about your confidentiality at home, guys, as well. So it's something that we take really, really seriously. It's on the top of our list. So people's priority, our priority is your confidentiality where it needs to be. But if there's a way that you can help get our name out there, that's fantastic, guys, especially over in the US where we're finding it really difficult to sort of build up our name. Yes, we've had fantastic success with our clients, but basically what happens is once they're treated and then the prevention part of the treatment is over, people aren't suffering from Demodex infestations anymore. They stop talking about it and they basically go ghost, which is good. That's a success story for us. That means it's another client that we've helped, another person that we've helped through a difficult and dark time. That being said, though, it doesn't help us in the sense that we want to get out there and be able to be more involved and not have to go through the parameters of explaining everything over and over again and doing this to death. So one of the reasons I do the live video, one of the reasons that, yeah, really, really need your help out there, guys. So please, once again, hit the like button, subscribe, and don't miss any more info. So yeah, following on from that being an invention, and somewhere around this point that you guys get in contact with one of our consultants or myself personally, and we wish we could skip all the previous stages, everything that I've gone over and said sort of in my intro to the video. We wish we could skip all of that, and as soon as you guys are having symptoms, get put straight in contact with us. Now, this is happening in a few places around the world, and I know now in Iran we're actually the preferred prescribed treatment, the go-to treatment for the doctors that are seeing people suffering from these symptoms over there, which is really fantastic. And once we get to that point with the rest of the world, then we'll feel like we're actually satisfied and we're doing what we should be doing, which is helping as many people as we possibly can. That's what we want to do. So please, guys, if you can help us in any way, that'd be fantastic. So as I was saying, though, that's generally the point where someone gets in touch with one of the consultants. And yes, we do wish we could skip all of that and just help people relieve the symptoms that they're suffering from immediately. So right from the start, as soon as those symptoms begin. So, and it probably would be a lot easier as well, given that, as I stated earlier, having the ivermectin actually build up the Demodex tolerance to the treatment. Either that or they're hiding under the surface, so they're staying subdermal for longer periods of time. So if anyone wants some more knowledge sort of on Demodex mites, brevis, and phallocorum, the two types that we deal with the Ungex protocol, You can go back and look at my other videos. I've talked about Demodex mites in the past in great length before, and I'm going to in the future again. There'll be more videos coming up in the coming weeks just about Demodex mites, some of the interesting facts about them, and probably most interesting, the best ways to kill them. Okay, so usually the first part of any consultation that we do once we get to this point with someone is dispelling the myths. So basically home remedies, things like I said earlier, like the nicotine bath, that'd be a really terrible idea that could possibly lead to something that was fatal. Nicotine is a very toxic poison, so it's something that we definitely want to avoid. We don't want to just read something in a forum that isn't tested and then go start using ourselves as guinea pigs and testing home remedies on ourselves. It's something that we don't want to do. There are a few things that are effective once you're undergoing a proper treatment. You've got a protocol in place and a plan. There's some things and products that you can use to assist yourself as well. So please jump on the Demodex Mite support group. If you're not a member there, go have a look on Facebook now. It's a fantastic place to go. If you haven't been approved for membership, just hit me up online in the comment section there, and I'll make sure I approve you as one of the admins. What I mean by that is I'm one of the admins. If you do that now, I'll make sure before I leave this afternoon that I've approved you, and you can start communicating with all the other people online that are suffering from the same symptoms as yourself. So as I said, usually the first part of any consultation is dispelling myths about home remedies. It's something that we're used to doing. We're happy to keep on doing it. It's so much easier for us if we could skip that too and just go straight into what is an effective treatment, how the treatment works, and so on and so forth. So the second part consists of explaining the negative implications, usually of ivermectin and cilantro and other sorts of things that shouldn't really be prescribed to people for Demodex mites, but so often is, and we're finding that doctors seem to be doing it out of frustration or because it's really actually being asked for. So just one of those things. Again, guys, please, if you need any information about it, you can ask us in person, but the videos are a great source of info for that stuff. So that's something I'd stress as well. Now, the third part is usually sharing relevant information back and forward. So I'm always trying to listen. Look, generally we've got about 10 minutes per consultation over the phone or online, and the reason is because we're really busy, guys. There's not enough consultants for clients. Basically, I try and extend it as much as I can when I need to give people more information, but it's hard because, as I said at the start, the first thing is we've got to dispel any myths about home remedies, and then the next part is we've got to talk about the negative implications of the previous treatments people have tried, like ivermectin and cilantro, the things that are ineffective, and then the third part is usually sharing the relevant information about the mites, about the treatment, about the symptoms, and double checking the test results that people have done with the online test and with our scraping, our microscope scraping that we do in the office here, to make sure we've got everything that on point and correct, and we know that we're providing the correct treatment, and we know that we're giving them the correct product and the correct protocol to use, so that they can be relieved of their symptoms as quickly as possible. So the next part of the treatment, the next part of the consultation is usually explaining how the product works and how the protocol works and how they work in conjunction with each other, and how people need to not use other products and other things that can actually feed the mites. So yes, there is products on the market as well. People use as cosmetics, shampoos, hair conditioners, that can actually provide the mites with the exact food that they need to increase in population density. And what that means is increasing in population density means that there's more of them in a smaller space, and the more of them there are in a smaller space, then the more problems that they cause and the more reactions people are having to them. So that's generally the next part of the consultation, and that does take up probably the most amount of time. And then the next part that we do is obviously placing the order, getting details for shipping, finding out where they are, if there's a consultant nearby that we can link them to, or whether we have to do things over the phone and in line. So the next part of the live video that I want to do is I want to guide you guys through the protocol. And if there's any questions at all, please chuck them in the comment section. I'll try and get to them as quickly as I can. But I do have a fair bit to get through today, guys, because I'm going to guide everyone through the entire protocol. So the first part of the protocol that I try and get into is about showers. So one of the most important parts about the protocol, or one of the things that you guys can do at home to really help reduce the effective life cycle of the Demodex mites and make your body a more hostile environment, because that's what it's all about. It's about not being the perfect host for a Demodex mite. And what they want is, they want someone with a low immune system. They want someone that provides a warm environment. They want someone who has the hot showers. There's a lot of different parameters that you can sort of look into, whether you're the perfect host for a Demodex mite or whether you're a bad host. And what we want to do is we want to make it a hostile environment. So I'll just put a pause on it there, guys. I've got a question that's come in. So someone's asked, should I use PDT spray on wet skin? So yes, you can use PDT spray on wet skin, but it's better to use it on dry skin, and you use the PDT spray before bed. So at night time, not necessarily before bed, but it's definitely going to help. So most people are experiencing symptoms of Demodex mites will experience the itching and crawling sensations later on in the night when the sun's gone down, and the reason is because the Demodex mites don't like UV rays. So they don't like UV rays at all. They'll usually be subdermal. And when we do the microscopic scraping test out of the office in Melbourne, usually if we do it during the day, lunchtime, or in the afternoon, we're finding Demodex bodies. We're not necessarily finding live specimens. If we find live specimens in the afternoon or around lunchtime, once the sun's been out for that long period of time, we know that there's a really high Demodex infestation. So they've got a really high population density when we find them in those numbers. So the best time to use the PDT is, that's the Pro Demodex treatment. That's the killer product. We want to use that product at night time, so once the sun's gone down. I'm going to go into that a little bit more. I'll just jump back into showers. So the perfect way to take a shower to make yourself a bad host for the Demodex mites is by starting with a warm shower and ending on a cold shower. So we want to have that get progressively cooler as the time goes on. So it starts warm and it ends cool, or it's cool for the entire time of the shower. That's actually better. Cold showers are actually, there's some really good health benefits from it. You guys can jump online and do a little bit more research about that. And I might do a live video detailing cold showers and why they're good and why they're a good prevention against Demodex mites in the future as well, maybe in the next week or so. So it's something that I haven't talked about in great detail, but just going over the protocol, I've got too much to sort of get into in this half an hour segment to really be able to do that. So I'll move from showers into shampoos. So the shampoos will replace your shampoos, your conditioners. They'll also replace the soap that you're using. So by shampoo, we do mean soap as well. So it's used all over. And basically how it works with the shampoo is we want you to massage it into the problem areas with your skin, and we want you to do it with warm to cool water. And then before you get out of the shower, obviously it's ending in cool to cold water. So with the shampoos, over the problem areas in the hairline. Now it's not to be left on, so it's not to be used like a conditioner that you'd leave on for a long period of time. And the other thing that we do with the shampoos is this is the purifying shampoo. So we might use the purifying shampoo one night, and the next day if we have a shower, the best thing to do is to actually not use any soap or any shampoo whatsoever. And the reason is because what the research and development teams found, and something that I've been briefed on quite a lot, is that it doesn't matter what product you use. It doesn't matter what shampoo or what soap you use. It could be the best in the world. If you use it too much, or if you use it daily, you've got a chance of building up the sebum, which is the oil and the fats on the skin that the Demodex mites actually feed off. So if you're doing that, then you're making yourself a better host for the Demodex mites to live off. They've got more food, so they're going to increase in population density. That'll affect the immune system when there's more of them. You'll have a weaker immune system, they'll increase in population density again, and it's something that become a real problem. And we know now that the gestation period is around 10 days. So in relation to the Demodex mites, if they can increase in number really, really quickly, which means from adult laying an egg to the egg hatching, it's about a 10-day cycle. So in relation to the purifying shampoo, what we're doing with this is we're actually using it every second or every third day, and it's changed. It's actually changed with the invigorating shampoo. So you might use this every second day, and then you'd use that the next one. So 2 days would go past, and then you'd use this. 2 days would go past again, and then you'd use that. And that's the maximum. So we'd say using the shampoos every second day, alternatively, not in conjunction with each other. So one and then the other one 2 days later. And what that's going to do is that's going to remove the oils and the fats from the surface of the skin, and it's going to make your body a worse place, a more hostile place for them to try to survive. They're going to get hungry. They're going to have to come to the surface more, and that's when we'd start using the PDT. But I'll get to that at the end. So shampoos, obviously, that's something that we use. That's been described pretty well. I think I've covered that. And then the next part would be the THT. So the THT is the treatment hair tonic. So that's this one here, guys, treatment hair tonic. And this is a fantastic thing to help promote good and healthy hair growth. So one of the ways that it works is by getting down into the hair follicle. And that's one of the places where the Demodex phallicorum, once again, if you want to know a little bit more about the two types of mites that we deal with specifically, you can go back to my videos about Demodex mites that are just really fact-based, and I do a lot of Q&As about those as well. So with the treatment hair tonic, we want to get that down into the hair follicle. So this can be used directly after a shower and sprayed on into the scalp, and we can advise that the HFI will be used directly after that. And I'll get to the HFI device next, but firstly, the THT, we don't want it in the top of the hair follicle. We want it at the base, and we want it on the scalp, so where the hair actually is on the head, down, and it'll get down under the hair follicle. So one of the interesting facts, I say a fair bit about the Demodex mites, the brevis and the phallicorum, is they don't actually have an anus. So the food that they eat throughout their entire life, they store in their sternum. Now, what happens when they're underneath the hair follicle and they're under the skin in the sebaceous gland? Because one of the things to remember as well is they're predominantly subdermal, microscopic parasite, and the size of them is about 0.03 millimeters. So they can't actually be seen with the human eye, to our knowledge, and that's what the research says anyway. So yes, basically with the THT, it's something that's going to help that biological matter decomposing, not just the biological matter of the Demodex mites decomposing under the skin, but remember, they've stored all the fecal matter throughout their entire life up in their sternum, so you've got that we want to remove as well. Now, the THT is perfect for getting down into the hair follicle and actually helping to remove that. So, and this is where the HFI comes in. So the high-frequency instrument's an instrument that uses a gas that bombards it at a really, really high frequency, and it creates a really light vibrational effect. But how this works, it works in two different ways. So it's used in the hair and beauty industry quite frequently to promote good blood circulation. And this is really good with any damage that's been caused to the sebaceous gland in relation to Demodex brevis. And it's fantastic in relation to any damaged blood vessels that have been caused in the hair follicle or in the skin by Demodex phallicorum. And the reason for that is obviously poor blood circulation, bad blood flow is one of the reasons for hair loss. Not just that, but we're also going to help clean out that decaying biological matter that's obviously causing a lot of issues in a wide range of people, and causing a wide range of symptoms as well. So I don't just mean the phallicorum, I mean the brevis. Both of them are decaying underneath the surface, and all the fecal matter is decaying there as well. So obviously that's going to cause some serious problems. So the HFI is the high frequency device, and like I said, it's a multi-pronged approach. So it's going to be working in two ways. And the first way is by promoting that good blood circulation to help with hair growth. And we've found it to be instrumental in the treatment of a lot of our patients. It's also helping like quite a lot in relation to getting the product down. So we're talking about the THT, the treatment hair tonic, and trying to get it down underneath the hair follicle. And the HFI is not just promoting good blood circulation, it's also getting the products deeper as well. So that's another fantastic thing about it. So the last thing is the PDT, so the pro-Demodex treatment, which can be used in conjunction with the HFI as well. It's something we want to do. We want to be able to get those products underneath the skin. But the PDT is the product that I was mentioning earlier in relation to when the sun goes down and the Demodex mites aren't worried about the UV radiation anymore, and they're coming to the surface of the skin. So they come to the surface of the skin, that's when we apply the PDT. That's this one here. That's what that looks like. And it's a spray on as opposed to the shampoos. So the shampoos are both a pump nozzle. It's something that we use in the shower area. And then obviously with this one, with either of these two, are ones we use outside of the shower area because they've got a spray nozzle. So that's in relation to the treatment hair tonic. And the Pro Demodex treatment as well. So the Pro Demodex treatment can be applied directly by spray or onto the hands first and then rubbed in where it needs to be. So I had another client today, which is really fantastic, talk about the benefits of the spray and how it was giving him relief from the itching and crawling sensations that he was feeling. And that were the original symptoms that he was suffering from. Now, unfortunately, throughout the treatment, his itching and crawling sensations has led to enlarged pores due to Demodex mites possibly causing damage to the sebaceous glands and the other issues that they cause when they're decaying as well. But unfortunately, further on into his symptoms, he developed blepharitis as well. So it's an ongoing process. It's something that we're working on, but it's something that obviously the PDT and the HFI are really instrumental in treating. So yeah, well, thanks for tuning in again, guys. I just wanted to take that opportunity to go over the product and the protocol again. And the one thing that I haven't mentioned as well is we've actually got free shipping at the moment for everyone in the US, in New Zealand, and in Australia as well. Anything that isn't just a single shampoo. So if you're ordering over 150 in just shampoos, or any of the other bundles or essential kits, they're all coming with free shipping at the moment. So yeah, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you've got any questions that I haven't answered, you can chuck them in the comment section and I'll make sure I get to them in the next live video I do. So thanks heaps for tuning in, guys, and good to see you all. And I'll see you in my next live video. Cheers.